Hi, everybody. Welcome to your weekly South Florida real estate call with home advocate Jayne Saunders. How are you today, Jayne?
I am good.
That's great. Let's talk about if I actually wanted to buy in South Florida today, right? Prices are escalating because let's talk about the market and understand it a little more. First of all, interest rates have ridiculously never been this low. Is that still holding up for you out there?
Yeah, we're still teetering right around 3, little above, little below.
That's fantastic. So if I wanted to buy a house in South Florida, what is the very first thing I should do? Is it pre-qualify, go look at houses, find a price range? What is it from your perspective when somebody wants to buy? What should they do?
Well, I think the first thing they have to do these days is check their credit and make sure there's nothing untoward on there. And then obviously talk to a mortgage broker or a couple of mortgage brokers, something along that line, and find out what they would be qualified for. We have people paying very high rental rates right now, and they think they can just roll that into a mortgage. Well, they may not actually qualify for that payment. So they need to sort of start there, figure out what price range they're going to fall in, and then determine if there's something in the price range that'll work.
Perfect. So I am guessing that I can call you and get a referral to somebody that I trust. You being a home advocate, I would assume, again, I'm not allowed to make assumptions in my life, but I'm guessing you doing this, you got a couple of people that can work this out. Okay, good.
I've got people for the self-employed, some of the quirky deals, the foreigners, stuff like that. So I've got a mixed bag of people that can help pretty much anybody.
Okay. Which takes us to the next step, right? The market in literally all of South Florida is the most valuable thing, I'm guessing, because there's gold in the property. But it seems to be driven by, one, the low interest rate, and number two, driven by investors looking basically for rental properties. If I want to buy, is there still a market? Are there still locations? What in your mind are sort of the best areas to kind of take a look at for somebody looking for a good deal?
I focus mainly in the Tri-County area, Miami-Dade, Lauderdale, Broward County, and Martin County, and Palm Beach County. So I've got 4 counties. But, and they sort of ascend in price from the Miami-Dade up to the Martin County area, decreasing. Jupiter is probably the one everybody knows because it's a destination. Average price there is right, median price is right around, average price is right around 500,000. And, for a lot of people, we don't have a high income bracket down here, like New York City and some of those other places. So, the average worker can't afford that. It just doesn't jive. So, they have to settle for something else. And most times that's going to be a townhouse or a condo in not such a great area and not in Jupiter. So, the investors love it because they know that there's going to be a market for the rent. The rent's going up. That has not slowed down. And the house prices are still going up, but not as spectacularly as they were 6 months ago. We've seen a market shift in the last, say, 4 months. And, we don't slow down at the end of the year like the northern states. That's usually pretty busy for us.
Yeah, this is much for like us in Florida. This is the busier time when people come to visit and they go, it's great. What is the weather? I was just talking to a mutual friend of ours, Derek, and I was saying, I don't know if it's worth it to go to Florida. I think it's nicer here in San Diego right now. What is the weather like throughout the winter season?
We'll get down, it'll be kind of cool in the morning. I mean, we call it cold, but the northerners go, oh, that's a nice day. It gets down around 60 in the morning.
Right. It's the same for us. It's like 60 and people are freaking out around here that it's winter officially.
And then by midday, it's up in the 70s, close to the 80s, But, pretty much the humidity's gone, so it's nice. And there's a light breeze and you can go to the beach.
Awesome. Okay, well, since this is something I actually debated at one point, I'm going to pick you as my realtor and home advocate. I want the most bang for my buck when I buy. I'm going to be a cash buyer. I'm going to be your dream person, like an investor. But let's break this down. And I think this is how people should look at a home. I think they worry more about the home than what's around the home. from your perspective, what's more important, the livability of the house or what's around the house?
The house is not that important for most people because down here we tend to live outside. The big thing about a house is screen patios and open patios. They want that. They don't want to be in a box. And I had my doors open all day yesterday and the breeze was coming through and it was lovely. But that's one of the things people forget to look at down here. And then, the other thing is it really depends on whether you want to mow a lawn every day of the year. We mow grass year round. We don't have a down season.
Okay.
So, if you're a snowbird or you're a part-timer, then you've got to look at hiring lawn services and stuff like that. So those people tend to go to townhouses and condos.
Okay. Let's follow this through. Since I really did think about moving to Florida at one point, and a large portion of the buying units that are traditional, even from an investment standpoint, people are relocating. It's happening a lot with California. They're going to Nevada, they're going to Arizona, they're going to Florida. My destination would have been Florida before I was crazy enough to open this company here in Florida, which still, it still mentally boggles me that it wasn't open in Florida or Nevada. But that's a different show about building your corporation. To me, the house doesn't matter as much, right? Because I'm a developer, to me, I'm going to build whatever dreams and memories based on the location that I'm in. What matters more to me are the exterior parameters. And I'm afraid you're going to tell me where I have to live because I would rather live like Port St. Lucie. I'd like to live on the Gulf side than as compared to the Atlantic side. But I need to be close to football. I'm okay with the Dolphins. I admit that. I'm a Chargers fan. It's the same fish on either coast. We play about the same too.
Yes.
We have one good season every 5 years.
Good game every now and then.
I don't care so much, but I like having sports. I like having concerts. I like having a nightlife. And I realize that probably puts me closer to like Hollywood or Miami, right? Over on that side, over by the Delta Arena and so forth. Can I still get away with getting a low-key beach place somewhere without killing myself financially?
It depends what number you're looking at. The further north you go, the least expensive it is.
So exponentially speaking, I had this debate with Nevada, right? Like I wanted to live in Las Vegas, but living on the Strip is too hot. So you start going outside of town, up a mountain, till you're in a ski slope area, and it would take me 45 minutes to drive into the city for any set event. If I drive 45 minutes north, which based on California driving is not a big deal, it's like LA to Orange County, basically. Will 45 minutes up the coast get me to something that'll make me happy on the coast?
Depending where you're starting from.
Delta Arena?
Well, I mean, if you're talking Miami, it'll take you an hour to get out of Miami-Dade County. The traffic is horrendous. And pretty much everything on the water, even, you can do intercoastal, which is going to be cheaper than the ocean. The intercoastal is nice because you have views. The ocean, you're not going to get a house. You'd be looking at a condo. And if you're up high enough, what do you see? You see the sky and the ocean during the day, and at night you see nothing. So
are alligators real?
Yeah, but they're everywhere. They don't, I haven't seen one in my.
What are they, like squirrels here in California? You guys talk about them so indifferently. It's like squirrels or skunks for us, right? We're more of a mountainous terrain, so we get wild coyotes. And if we told people how close cougars and pumas actually were here in California, you'd probably freak out a little bit more to know that we have mountain lions. For you guys, it's alligators and tornadoes. That's the big downside to it weather-wise from what and I know about August and the rain. I don't think people mentally prepare enough for what a bucket of water looks like pouring down for an hour, but it was new to me when I saw it.
I came through that today. I went from sunny skies to I couldn't see the car in front of me. And 5 minutes later, it was gone.
Right.
So that's Florida.
Right. Motorcycles just pull under the overpass. They wait it out and go back about their day.
Correct.
I
Yeah.
I'm really trying, Jayne. I want to move to Florida. Like when my daughter goes off to college, although she just recently told me she wants to go to Syracuse, which puts a lot of places back into play for me. So I'm kind of excited.
That's a lot of cold weather.
It is, but I've got to get to that coast then, right? Now Florida's back in play. Now I'm in the same vicinity. So to me, looking
Well,
at Florida,
I actually moved out of Palm Beach County because I knew what I wanted to spend, and what I could find was just, it was horrible. And, so I thought, well, I'll go up north. So I moved one county up. I went over the county line, and the prices dropped about $75,000 on a condo. And my property taxes are lower, my insurance is lower, and I'm the same distance from my office. So, and I'm a mile from the beach.
that's a big deal. That's a big deal for beach people. I am less than a mile from the beach. My previous place was on the beach. Once you get a taste for the beach, I don't think people understand this. This is like being country or mountain people. Once you've done it and that's your thing, you don't want to leave it even for a great city. I think Hollywood is fantastic. It puts me right above South Florida, right? It puts me right above everything. But I realized that the prices would be so egregious to get something coastal in that one little stretch.
Well, Hollywood is more west, you'd be more like Lighthouse Point or something like that.
Okay, whatever that is adjacent to it. See, I only know it by the larger demographics. Plus, Hollywood has a casino and entertainment there with the Hard Rock. Those things matter to me. I don't know what people, school, I get it. Schools are important. Is there a big variation of schools throughout the districts? I'm trying to talk for everybody who's watching this going, what about schools and crime?
Most of our districts, like our schools in Palm Beach County, are county, the whole county. It's not a little district. And so, they're rated. They're pretty well rated. There are some that are not so good, but majority of them are pretty well rated.
Good. When a buyer's looking at an area, does crime or poverty come into play, or in general?
It does if they come from certain areas like New York or California. They always seem to ask.
Right. It's a question we ask because there's a big difference between where I am right now in Little Italy and, say, going down to San Ysidro on the border. Yeah, I'm near the ocean still, but little different. It's a little different.
Crime is not that big down here. I mean, our police are pretty active, and we don't have the shortages that the other states have. And we have a state government that's very supportive of our police departments, not only like police, but all the other enforcement departments. So they are well funded, and they are pushing more money in there. So we're doing the opposite of what a lot of states, not just cities, but states are doing. And they're aggressively pursuing the criminals. So,
and I guess, I think that's a big deal. I don't know what day-to-day crime is like, except for the places that I travel to consistently. The downside to Las Vegas, for anybody from California thinking, well, I guess I'll go to Vegas. One block off the strip in either direction, you're in a shark tank. Like, it's very treacherous, really treacherous, not to mention the way the people in general behave in Las Vegas from being baked in the sun too long.
Well, we have those pockets as well, but you just have to know not to be around. I mean, they're pretty obvious. You just drive through the street and it's obvious.
That's good. Last question, I guess, would be for the investors. If I was looking for something Vrbo-y or Airbnb investment-wise, which is one of the biggest drivers of this market, right? Where, in your opinion, is sort of the great little find in your counties that you currently work with that is a great opportunity for investors?
The Verbos are running into problems because the cities are coming up with some rules. And, we do have a resident tax here for short-term rentals. And the city and the counties are pretty much after that. And a lot of the cities will not allow short-term rentals. Now they'll allow them, over in the ocean in the condos, for 3 months minimum, stuff like that. But the day-to-day rentals, they're very few and far between. Most of those are just private people doing something privately. There's not a big, huge market for it because most of our people that are down here are down for periods of time that are longer than most of the Verbos.
So they're doing longer term rentals than shorter term rentals, but they're still doing, the investors are still
Right.
seizing upon those rentals in general.
Well, the investors can still pick up a property even if it's kind of pricey, but they can command the high dollar.
Right.
So it's still a viable option, and we're still predicting that next year we're still going to have price increases, probably not the 24% we saw in the first 6 months of this year, but probably annually, probably more like 15.
Yeah, I for you specifically in those counties, you're in one very weird little niche of it's desirable to investors. It's desirable for move outs. It's sort of a collection point. It's very close. The only problem with it is what I see happening in Arizona, but it's not a very desirable vacation destination. I mean, yes, kind of certain times of the year, but year round, your area is the most desirable place to go to. It has a year round economy based on vacationing.
Exactly. And we used to be predominantly a tourist state.
Yeah.
But the last 10 years, we've had Scripps Research come in from California. We've had Barnum. We've got the big financial firms out of New York coming down here. We've got a lot of growth in the technology area. I mean, we're doing research now on Alzheimer's down here at Scripps that's leading the world. So we have all those things that we didn't used to have that we have now. And, we're opening universities. We didn't used to do that. We're now opening universities in all the counties and stuff. So we've got the growth. We've got the affiliation with the New York hospitals for the New Yorkers that, want that same level of care. So we've got all that now that we did not have. And so not only are we attractive weather-wise, we're attractive for even the seniors that, maybe have health problems or are worried that, they get stuck down here. So we've got all of that growth, and the hospitals are booming. They just are booming. And so, that coupled with all the research has made it very attractive for a lot of the younger people, the research techie type people. And so we've got that down here now. Microsoft is down here with, we're just growing. So if whatever field you're in, it seems like we have something for you.
Which brings up the question of why should you have an advocate help you buy a house? And I think we've answered those in a sort of generic way because we're only limited to how long we could talk about it. And I suspect anything longer than 20 minutes will seem like gushing about Florida. But I can safely say this for everybody who's watching, I strongly debated it. Like it moved beyond the debate phase into maybe I should call Jayne. This is now getting to the point where I'm obsessing about it and I'm looking into it. The truth is my dollar would go farther in Florida, no doubt. Running my company would go further. There's a lot of advantages to it. It's why it becomes a relocation place like Las Vegas for that matter, except it's not 120 degrees for 5 straight months. That's kind of a bummer.
Our sales tax is relatively low. We're in the 6.5% range, and we have no state tax. So, for seniors or people that want to make investments, this is a good place to have the home office because you're not paying all those taxes like you guys in California, for sure.
For sure. Everybody, the information is down below. You should call Jayne. We'll be back next week and talk about selling your home throughout the holiday season and what that actually means. Is there anything you'd like to add this week, Jayne?
No, the market's good. It's time to buy. We've got property and we're not getting crazy people making offers. We're selling properties with one offer right now.
See you guys next week where we will talk to South Florida's homeowner advocate, Jayne Saunders. You can't go wrong in Florida if you call Jayne. I'm just telling you the way it is. Make it really simple. As a former banker, I'm telling you that's who I would have called, and still might. The alligators, Jayne. The alligators. It's the alligators.
I haven't seen one in months. We had one on the golf course the other day. I
was about to say I haven't seen a mountain lion or a bear, and I actually stopped myself and went, yeah, that kind of happened recently. I'm near it's a thing. It happens. Even here by the beach, it happens. call Jayne. Information's down below. Take advantage of it. And we will see you guys next week with more about Florida real estate, home advocacy, what to do about missed payments. We'll talk about current events. We'll talk about the things you guys. So click the like, subscribe, and share. We would appreciate it. And give Jayne a call if you have any questions about real estate at all. That's all we ask in exchange for the information.
Exactly.
Thanks, Jayne.
Thank you.